Hey, they're in the cats. Welcome to the writer's room.
We did it.
We did another week.
I think my microphone's working too.
Sounds great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So what's happening, man?
Oh, I'm living the dream. Busy work week.
Yeah?
Work month winding down, so I'm ready to get into some creative writing.
All right. There's still a lot of houses selling out there?
Oh yeah. Still a lot of people buying and refinancing.
Isn't that wild? Refinancing, I get it, but buying, man, the prices are just through the roof right now.
I know. I'm thinking about just buying a van and selling my house and living out of my van.
Buy a van and a river to go down by and just stay there.
Yep.
That'll work. The Ohio River, that's a very nice place to go down with a van. No? All right. So, today, what do we have? We have the continuation of Harlots. We have to take the outline, I think, and expand it. We got a rough idea down last time. This time, probably just take all those points and expand them out some so that we have a firm grasp and kind of vision of where it is that we want to take this thing as we begin writing. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's exactly what we could be doing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me switch over to the Google Doc real quick so that we can take a review. Are you in the doc yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have. So at the very top, that's the beat sheet. This is from Save the Cat from Blake Snyder. That's who we're basing all of this off of. Opening image, which sets the tone for the story. Car teetering from the edge of a cliff. Slow Dewey saves the day, or something. I'm sure. Man, we can come back to it. So, the theme, the main idea, narration, Dewey. I bet you're wondering how we got here. Needs to get expanded out some. Now, when they say the main idea, do they mean that page 5, by page 5 in the story or in the script?
Within 5 minutes, you want to have kind of set the main idea up for what's going to happen, what the movie's about.
Right. Which is what we would be doing with our dramatic opening deal with, I'll bet you're wondering how we got here.
Yep.
Okay. Then the setup, which is pages 1 to 10. Background for the story. At the old folks' place, Judy gets notice she's been inducted to the AVN Award Lifetime Achievement, which I just love. Let me get my name changed here. We forgot to change our names too. Why don't you carry on? Why don't you take over the next debate or catalyst through fun and game? Sure.
All right. So after we've established that that's what the story is about, this retired lady getting inducted into the Adult Video News Awards for a lifetime achievement. The catalyst is she's not sure that she can pay for the script alone, that she's even got a way to get there. So she rounds up her buddy Dewey from the home or the facility, and her bestie break free. Go on a girls trip.
Yeah.
Go live movie style. once we establish that, then we get to the debate where Judy brings her friend along. She kind of somewhat uses Dewey, who's got a thing for her, to help facilitate all this. And the debate is he's got to decide if he's going to go along for the ride or not. I also think the debate might be Grace, whether or not she's going to go.
Right.
Although I think we may kind of have her duped into the real reason for the road trip.
Yeah. Yeah, that ends up becoming kind of the twist on that end, is how she really, what she finds out what it's really about as they get closer, and Judy being awkward and skirting it, and maybe even at some point slow Dewey, who knows what's really up, trying to counsel her about it. And that could end up being the part where the two of them, or she starts to see him as something other than slow Dewey for the first time as well, since Dewey has had this kind of crush.
Yeah.
Dude, what if half of our cast passes away before the show, before we finish wrapping shooting?
Yeah. That would be weird.
I mean, if we're dealing with a bunch of septuagenarians, I think it's also plausible.
Yeah.
So
if all the actors are in fact older,
yeah.
I mean, we could always have younger actors that play older, just depending on how it works out.
That's true. That's true. All right.
Yeah, I've definitely seen movies where they come out and immediately have this special thanks goes out to whoever.
Right. Yeah, we don't want any of that action. So let's make everybody 40.
All right.
Then we'll have 3 heart attacks.
All right. So our next part of this, the next beat or whatever is Act 2. And that's where Grace, and I don't know where we came up with here, but Grace pushes Judy to accept the award, even though she doesn't quite know what the award's for. So maybe, yeah.
Meaning that Judy's explained that she's going someplace to accept an award. She just didn't know the specifics behind it, so maybe she's feeling reticent about going out there and is starting to feel. Because Act 2, my understanding about what Act 2 would have been her, them breaking out of the home. That's Act 2 to me is like the cross-country trip, right? Because Act 1 is at the nursing home, Act 2 is the trip itself, and Act 3 is where we wrap up in Vegas at the awards with the culmination of all the bric-a-brac.
We could.
Hang on, I lost your audio. I think maybe it was on my end. Give me just a second. All right, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
There you are.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
So I guess we could do it that way with the 3 acts. That simple. The first act in the home, second act breaking out, third act going to the awards. However, I don't know that we have to wait 25 minutes in for the road trip. We could. I mean, so that Act 2.
Well, let's look at it.
Act 1 could consist of the nursing home and starting on the road trip. There could be something else there.
The literal definition for Act 2 is leave the old situation and enter a new one.
Yeah.
The old situation being the home. So for me, the first, and it says the debate would be from 12 to 25. The debate is to go or not to go. How do we go? How do we coordinate all of this? Because the first 25 minutes ends up becoming kind of a mini Ocean's 11 movie of them having to do old people innovation and backhanded stuff in order to get keys and get cars and get people out of the way. And,
right.
So we get to tell a fun little Ocean's 11 story in the first 25 minutes of the movie that is probably, when you take into effect the fact that the first 5 minutes of the movie is essentially the action from the middle of the movie or toward the end of the movie.
Right.
So we only end up with maybe 20 minutes to dig into that story. 20 minutes is,
Yeah.
I don't know, that might even be a little short for it, but I don't see it as unreasonable, I guess is my point, for the first act, and to call that, just leave it at what it is in that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I think setting the tone and doing that main opening image of the car, how'd you get there? That could be, yeah, you're right. That could be a few pages, and then we can go back in time
Yeah.
to set up how they got to that point.
Absolutely.
And we can pick that up then later on towards the end of
Toward the end of the
there's a
second
lot
act.
Towards the end of the second act, there's a lot of movies that do that. Like, how did we get to this point? They show it to you in the beginning, they do the backstory, and then they bring it to speed.
Deadpool did it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect example. He doesn't get in the fight with those guys in the cars until, 50 minutes into the movie.
Right.
Well, I say that. Maybe we ought to find out where that's at in that movie, and maybe we'll see a trend in when that pops up too, and see where it falls into here.
Right, because we can also then go online and there are people who have taken movies and broken them down into this exact same beat sheet, so you can see how they followed that.
So, actually, this is that would be the point where that happens. At 55 minutes in, midpoint, which is what we were coming up on, story A and B cross, false victory or false defeat. It would be right. It would be a false defeat because they would be ripped from defeat because Dewey, who came to rescue the girls, once he found out the other two were going to be in hot pursuit. Wouldn't it be funny if Dewey was hidden in the trunk or hidden in the back seat and under a blanket, just this old man on the floorboard over the transmission hump?
Right, and he has to break down the back seat.
No. He's literally laying on the floorboard in the back seat of their car. He's literally on the ground with a blanket over the top of him, and then he pops out.
He'd been there the whole time.
He'd been there the whole time. He's just drenched in sweat. He's just drenched in sweat. He's gasping and glistening, and he's taking his shirt off, and all you see is this. Because the sun is behind him, so you just see the negative, just the shadow with just vague features of this hulking man standing over Judy, reaching out to help her, only to realize as she stands up, it's somebody who's 6 inches shorter than her, and it's Slow Dewey, who has taken his shirt off because he almost had asphyxiation in the back seat and under 2 blankets on this stupid road trip in Nevada.
Right.
It's boiling hot.
Slow Dewey, what are you doing here?
Slow Dewey? What are you doing out here, Dewey? Don't call him Slow. His name's Dewey.
So we can pick up our B story there. Dewey's in love with Judy.
Yeah.
And the people from the assisted living facility go on the hunt for their residents. So that could be them closing, the bad guys closing in.
Okay, so when is this?
The B story, which is kind of
the secondary plot line is going to be the hunt of the old people from the administrators.
Right, and that'll be running concurrently with them on their road trip with the B story of the administrators of the facility coming to get them.
Yep.
Yeah. And then fun games, like that'll be a lot of fun because then we can do we wrote Fear Loathing meets moment with 2 old ladies, Ocean's 11, The Hangover, Leaving Las Vegas,
Yep.
Pierce Nipples.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of really fun stuff that we can do with the midpoint of it.
Store by Jade Eggs.
What's that?
We wrote They Go by the Goot Store by Jade Eggs. But what's her name? Gwyneth Paltrow's high-priced.
Oh, the Goop Store. Go to the Goop Store and buy Jade Eggs.
But we can say, as we're putting this together, we can just come up with the most crazy things that and whatever, we can always kill our darlings later, but we can have so much fun with that.
Yeah, absolutely. That could be a lot of fun.
Midpoint, the assisted living people catch up with the heroes, convince them to come back with them. Dewey runs interference and takes one for the team, so maybe somehow he breaks away from the girls, and they just get Dewey, or maybe he comes up with some kind of story. Oh, I sent them back already. They got on a bus.
Oh, Dewey runs decoy in. Yeah, I gotcha.
And then the bad guys close in.
Well, then they won't take him back.
Oh, they won't. Yeah.
I think that they just put him in the back seat of the car and make him stay there, so that they can collect the other two and take everybody, because they've already driven all that way. It wouldn't make sense for them to go all the way back and then all the way back to Vegas.
Right.
So, and we have to have Dewey be there at the end anyway.
Yep.
To win, and that's going to be Grace is let go by the fuzz.
That's right. Yeah, so I guess they get taken into custody for stealing the car.
Ladies in custody for stealing a car, put in a hotel until they can be sent home.
So would they be in a we put the ladies are put in a hotel until they can get sent back home, and they're guarded by the police. Would they really guard two old ladies and put them up in a hotel, or would they be arrested for stealing a car? Or would the people running the
I see. So they'll be. I see what you're saying. So what they'll do is they'll be arrested for stealing the car, but it'll be kind of like. Remember when we were kids and people sometimes would get arrested and the cops would just kind of fuck with them in order to teach them a lesson and then take them back to their dads?
Yeah.
Because they knew when they got home they were probably getting their asses whooped anyway.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Something along the lines of, all right, well, we'll rattle them up a little bit and hold on to them until you can get here. They'll be over at the Econo Lodge, room 112. Or room, back then they didn't have 112, room 12. And we could rent a room. There's one of those Econo Lodges right over here by the interstate that looks fucking great. It would be perfect to shoot at. Now, we might get shot because they're not nice, but they are cool. They look exactly like what we need. And you know they still have the decor.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah, so they can be put in a hotel, and then that's where they'll get, that's when Judy will die while they're in the hotel. Maybe she goes in to take a shower, and she had been in there for an awful long time, so Grace went to check on her, and she was just gone.
Right.
That's sad shit. We ought to put sad shit. Oh wait, never mind. You already got that. Sad shit.
She could be, maybe she finds her, the next scene after she finds her maybe in the shower or bathtub, we see her all made up in whatever she was going to wear to accept her award, and maybe Grace puts makeup on her and just lays her in the bed and goes accept the award on her behalf. Maybe she's got some kind of memento of hers, like a
dude. So she takes her out of the bathroom, and she dresses her up in her acceptance thing, and she puts the makeup on, and she does her hair, and she just lays her in bed. And then she lets the guards know what's up. And then she sneaks out while they're freaking out, grabs Dewey, they get the car and head over to the awards.
There you go. I like how that ends.
And then at what point does Grace end up doing the old The old sloppy sucker. What's the trick that she has to do here at the end, where she becomes just a total pig dog? We have to run this somehow. How do we run this? How do we take all of our goodwill and shit all over it? What's the atrocity?
After the end of the acceptance, she walks off the stage with the award, and then she says, "All right, I'm ready to do my first gangbang."
No. Hearing somebody else says it makes my heart break. You're right. It doesn't belong.
And she walks off, and we're like crying. We're in tears. We're crying. It's so heartfelt. And she walks off the stage, and everybody's just clapping for her. And she walks off the stage, this sweet little old lady, and then she says, "All right, I'm ready to do my first gangbang."
What if she just kneels down in front of the front row where all the studs are lined up and go, "Okay, cocks out, boys.
Okay, who's first?
Bring 'em."
God, I still want to try to make this PG-13.
No, I know. We're not going to get into any specifics or anything like that. We're just because a person was in the adult film industry doesn't mean that they weren't just a pleasant, super awesome, cool, normal, grounded person that just decided that was a path they wanted to take, had fun with it, and did what they did.
Right?
They shouldn't be beat up for that kind of stuff.
It's an order.
But we shouldn't be focusing, I guess, on the act so much as we should be focusing, I think, on the achievement, but the characters.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I really think your characters
Okay.
have a lot of fun together.
So let's go straight to the beginning. Our opening image. We need to expand this out. Car teetering from the edge of a cliff, slow duty saves the day.
Yeah.
What do we mean by? Well, first of all, are we going with car teetering from the edge of a cliff? We can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could go with that, or we could go with just a car in the middle of the desert with a hood up, with the steam coming out, and then the two ladies not knowing what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We could hear sirens. It could be sort of reminiscent of the beginning of Breaking Bad. Have you ever seen Breaking Bad?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I'm just trying to remember the opening. The opening image wasn't him making
the opening.
Oh, him coming out of the RV, right?
Dragging the bodies out. He's in his underwear and he stands out in the road. He gets a camera. He records his confessional. He takes out a gun, tries to figure out what he's going to do, and sirens are bearing down.
Yeah.
I mean,
one of the best openings ever of anything. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want that feel. We want that level of investment immediately, so you want to find out why they are there when they are there. I mean, in Breaking Bad, you had to hang around for, probably 28 minutes of viewing, 30 minutes of viewing in order to get to that point. Well, it was in the first episode, but each episode was like a mini movie.
Yeah.
So instead of it being at the 55-minute mark, in that, maybe it was at like 36 minutes or something.
Right. So we want that opening image to be as profound, as dramatic.
Or 26 minutes.
Just
Just
you right in.
Yeah, absolutely. We need something crazy happening. We need them stressing out. We need one of them freaking out. What are we going to do? We can't go back. We want this really high stress situation where you're just immediately invested in this story and why these old people are in trouble and what the hell all this means.
Right.
But we don't want to mislead to the point, well, maybe we do want to mislead a little bit to the point that we don't want people to think that this is like an action movie. It's certainly not an action movie.
Right.
Well, even though it can be a bit of an action movie, it'll just be much slower action,
Right.
which is funny.
A little action with the walker.
Action movie. We'll just put 2 letters of each one, AACCTTIIO in it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be action as in fast pace. We just need to ramp up the stakes in that first minute that we see them.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. We need to hear an explosion. We need to hear a pop. We need to hear something overheating. We need to hear, because maybe, well, maybe we first of all, maybe we have to get rid of Nellie Bell.
Oh,
The car being a narrator.
Yeah.
Possibly, because if we're going to have the car broken down, it's going to be hard to justify the car, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to reconcile that somehow, which means fixing the car.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be funny if when Dewey showed up, he went, well, I knew you girls wouldn't get more than about 120 miles. It's going to need a new belt before then. And he whips out a new belt, tethers it on real quick. We can hit the road now. And just whips it out. And it's all right. Start her up. And it's just because, with Dewey, we talked about how everything gets done and you never really see it. Mm-hmm. So for him to have a reason to have that belt on him because he knew that they were going to run out of juice at a certain point would be funny.
Right. Yeah. And would we have him pop out of the back of the car, or would we have him just show up? I'm not sure how he would have got there. He would have had to have taken a bus or something.
Yeah, unless he hid in the back of the car.
Yeah.
Which I think hiding in the back of the car ends up being the route because he is mysterious. Well, we don't even have to cover how he got there. I mean, he is Dewey.
Right. Yeah, we can suspend that.
But having him shirtless and just pouring in sweat as he reaches down to grab Grace. I don't know. Maybe Dewey likes Grace.
Yeah.
Instead of Judy.
Yeah.
Because Judy's a swinger anyway, so it wouldn't make much of a difference to her.
Right.
She would seem unattainable to everyone.
Well, she's not. Yeah, I can be right. Yeah, I guess I could see this character that we were going to do be more into somebody like Grace.
Yeah.
And want to help her.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the whole Nelly Bell part thing, I still like the concept, but the more that I think about it, the more that it's made convoluted story.
Right. It was cute.
Yeah.
But the story that we're writing now isn't exactly the story that we started with. So Nellie Bell may not work. Okay. So car teetering from the edge of the cliff, maybe not. Why don't we call it for the time being, car broke down. We can say that the girls are stranded on the side of the road. The nursing home bearing down on them.
Yeah, but how are we gonna? Oh, I guess we can.
We'll show all of that in like a little slow motion vignette right at the very beginning. We'll show the people coming in and her like this and not knowing what to do. We won't show Dewey saving the day yet. We'll just show the imminent threat of them bearing down on him and the girls, sitting over there stranded, and the things popped open, and they got nowhere to go. They're busted. They're defeated. We'll do a little voiceover thing that kind of gives us a brief overview with the. I bet you're wondering why we got here. Essentially those words. And then maybe we, at the very end of it, we can show like that hand, that glistening form, the strong whatever that's reaching down to try to help whoever up. Maybe Grace is tall. Maybe Grace is more like Glenna.
Yeah, tall. Yeah.
Actress Glenna, yeah. More of that look, where she still has that kind of sort of authoritarian but nice look to her.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dewey saves the day. He'd been hiding in the back the whole trip. Again, I don't know that we'd put that in the opening image.
Mm-hmm.
Only because.
Yeah, but somewhere between that and the theme, we could reveal that.
What, that Dewey was in there?
Yeah. Somewhere between the opening image, theme, and the setup. So the first 10 pages.
Well, I don't know that we show. I think Dewey saving the day ends up being the big surprise, right? We don't want to blow the surprise early, because we want to create that stressful tension at the very beginning where it seems uncertain whether they'll make it out for whatever reason.
Gotcha.
And then we'll go back and come up and we'll find out that Dewey was the hero that saved the day.
So right. So I'm just curious how we would get to that point if we had. So if we set it up like that, we don't know who saves them in the beginning, but it's some mysterious figure.
We don't have to show anybody saving them at all necessarily. We don't have to show them getting saved. We can just leave it open-ended and let that be the cliffhanger that you have to watch 55 minutes in order to catch up to. That could be the hook. Well, and phenomenal actresses.
Yes.
When we win the Academy Award for this, it's important that you understand that in our acceptance speech, I will call them a bunch of perverts.
Okay.
That's awesome. And then I'll ask, where are the parties and the bitches, Hollywood people? Quit looking at me all sanctimonious. I know that you guys have adrenochrome chambers in your basements. Hook it up. I'm here. I'm here to party.
And I think Helen Mirren is probably, or maybe Helen Mirren and Judi Dench.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Just Helen Mirren and Judi Dench real quick?
Yeah, let's just throw it in there.
Well, Helen Mirren would be amazing, and Judi Dench would be incredible. So I don't know that it gets a whole lot better than that. Now, who would we cast as Dewey? Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I think so.
It's Danny DeVito.
I think so. So as soon as the ink's dry and we fade to black on the script, I'm getting on IMDb and I'm looking at all their riffs. And I'm getting on the phone with them. I'm going to get them on the phone.
And letting them know this is coming down the pike.
Yeah. And we'll pitch it live on the writer's room.
We'll pitch it. No, do it on Fist Deep. Nobody watches this. 2 people watch Fist Deep. We need to have Danny DeVito on the Fist. How old is Danny DeVito? How old is that guy?
DeVito, I don't know, 70 maybe? Ish.
Danny DeVito.
76.
Dude, see, that's perfect.
Yep.
That's the exact age we need.
It is perfect.
Dude, him just like slamming the hood on the car.
Judy Ditch is 86.
Oh no, that's too old.
And how about Helen? Helen's 76. Oh, that's perfect.
I'm looking at a picture of Helen Mirren when she was maybe 36.
And in Vogue.
Yeah. You see that? Look at this.
Look at those.
Look how pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, she's beautiful now too. She just,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's like she hasn't really changed hardly at all.
No.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, good for you. Yeah.
Let's give them both.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. We need another 76-year-old female actress.
Yeah, you're right. Helen Mirren is older. She's about 10 years too old for the job.
No, not Helen Mirren. She'd be perfect.
Judy
Dench.
Yeah. How old is Bo there?
Diane Keaton.
Bo there is 64. Okay, she's too young.
Sigourney Weaver.
Oh yeah. Oh, she'd be great. She's like 71.
Diana Ross. I don't know if she. Well, I mean, she was in The Wiz. I don't know if she's been in anything else.
Right.
Meryl Streep. Babs. Barbara Streisand. What do you think?
Jane
Wanna do-
Fonda.
Who?
Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda. That'd be pretty crazy. That'd be really crazy. Susan Sarandon, I think, is up there.
Mm-hmm. Jane Fonda's 83. He's a young 83. There we
Come
go.
on, man. They're not. Here we go. I know this is making for bad TV, but that's okay.
For everybody watching.
For the nobody watching, for all the viewer at home. Yeah, in case you're wondering what we're doing, we're scrolling through actresses in their 70s to figure out who our leads are going to be. What's her name? Mary Poppins.
Oh, yeah.
Angela Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury is no longer alive, is she?
Angela Lansbury.
Murder, She Wrote, she's not alive anymore.
I don't know. Is she not?
I think so.
Did you just kill Angela Lansbury? Betty White?
Betty White, yeah, she's almost, what, 190?
That's brutal. That's a long time to live, man. And to just keep, but she does great.
Yeah.
I don't know how she in particular does it. At that age, I expect to be bones.
Tina Turner.
I'm on this thing called Stars Insider.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means. Okay, I can't.
Ooh, her name.
What's that?
Who is, who's married to Kurt Russell?
Who is married to Kurt? Oh, Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn.
So, oh, here's a fun one. Nichelle Nichols. Uhura from Star Trek. That'd be a fun one.
Yep.
Uhura and Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren and Uhura and Nichelle Nichols.
There you go.
That'd be fun. I don't know who'd be who, but we'd let Helen Mirren be the haughty one, and we'll let Nichelle Nichols be the grounded Grace.
They're over that.
All right, copy that. Car broke down, girl stranded on the side of the road. Nursing home people bearing down on them. All seems lost. Theme. Which I wonder why we got here. That's probably pretty. And I don't know if it'll be Dewey now, but we'll just have it be somebody. That's really kind of it. All seems lost, but you wonder how we got here. That's basically the beginning of the film, yeah?
Right.
The setup is 1 to 10, so we're good there. Back at the old folks' home, Judy gets a notice she's been inducted into the AVN Lifetime Achievement Awards. So how do we want to tie in the getting back to the old folks' place? So we have the deal out there, but how do we want to transition that to the past to pick the story up?
Right. How do we do a flashback?
Right. Because I bet you're wondering how we got there is the time-honored tradition. But where do we land at? Are we going to land like when Judy or whoever narrates this, like when she first moved into the home? How do we want to do that? Because she should move in and like find, or Grace should move in and like find Judy mysterious or something, and that's where their friendship starts, maybe.
And so, how much time do we want to have pass between? Do we want to set up their whole friendship, or do we want to just kind of start with shortly before they go on the journey?
Well, I mean, we can do the whole friendship. The whole friendship can be buttoned up in about 3 or 4 minutes, really.
Right. Well, as far as time goes, how much time?
We could have her. We could. So we could say that Grace had been at the home for maybe a year when this whole thing gets hatched. So we don't have a ton of room to whatever to cover, but we show Grace getting essentially dumped off at the old folks' home by the ungrateful youngest son, and we kind of show her being resentful and kind of withdrawn and whatever about having to be there. And then that's when she meets Judy and at cribbage night or some shit, who cracks a couple jokes at her and gets her to lighten up, so they become friends and find that they're in a couple other things together. Just kind of cover that story, and then that's when maybe it would just so happen at the 1-year anniversary of her moving in, Judy also finds out this other news at the exact same time, and says, oh my, and maybe Grace even says, oh, we have to. It'll be our fun little trip, or it'll be our whatever. And yeah, maybe she's not going to be a super willing accomplice at the beginning, but how do we work that?
Yeah, and how do we work Judy into going on this trip? Like, is this something that she's like, oh wow, they recognize her, and she didn't give a shit? Like, what would it? I mean, I guess it might be important to her, or maybe she knows that she doesn't have much longer to live, and she's like, oh, we have one last hurrah.
Or maybe Grace is the one who's been in the home forever. Judy is the one that comes in that doesn't want to talk to anybody because she feels like she's been thrown away. And Grace does try to break her out of her shell by saying that you should do this and we should go on this trip. And she's like, well, no, Grace, you don't understand. You don't know. It isn't what, no, it was an award. It's a lifetime achievement award. You said that you're lonely. You said that you're this and this and this. We're going. But how are we going to go? You let me worry about that.
Right. And yeah, that would be cool. Her not knowing, really, just that it was her, whatever, she could just say that was my own profession. Maybe she could lie about what the profession was.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
She could think, well, I was a librarian. I'm doing the Dewey Decimal System, Dewey.
You know what's interesting is that the more we're talking about this, the more Grace opens up a little bit, and the more Judy becomes a tad bit more sheltered, which means that we're sort of rewriting the characters too. We may have to go back and explore what our notes were at some point.
Yeah, because my notes were, but that doesn't mean that those two characters still can't be closer to that.
Sure.
Just in this instance.
That's all I mean. It's just they've tweaked a little bit, so we may want to tighten those up as this moves along.
Yeah.
So back to the old folks' place. Judy gets to notice it. So let's say Judy moves in after being thrown away by. Who's going to throw her away?
I'm not sure because I think we kind of written her as someone who really didn't have any family anyway.
Except for a nephew or something.
Yeah. But then again, I guess she could just get to a point where she's just not able to live on her own.
So maybe she had this whole great life and maybe she's just unable. Moves in after coming to terms with having limited ability due to her age. Due to her age. Pressed, she is lived by Grace, who tries to cheer her up, gets notice of avian lifetime award in mail at same time as 1 year of living there. Grace. So now we move on to the catalyst. Doesn't mean to get there. There we go. Judy isn't too sure she can make it to Vegas. Doesn't have the means to get there. Is convinced by Grace to go. Grace hatches plan with help of Dewey to crush on Grace. Dewey offers up the car. Cool. Catalyst. Offers up the car. Debate. There you go. The debate is just them going on about the car, right? I'm sorry? I thought that was coming from my house. I thought that was John Joe for a minute.
Hi. No. Hi, Emery. No, it's Brett's girl. Hi, girl.
Okay, so Judy isn't sure she can make it to Vegas, doesn't have a means to get there, is convinced by Grace to go. Grace hatches a plan with help of Dewey, who has a crush on Grace. Dewey offers up the car. They break free. The debate is what?
Hi. What is our debate?
Grace, or we'll say that Judy gets cold feet and Grace has to convince her without knowing it's commercial. Which is why Judy has been so
She's like, oh, just sitting in the wrong corner.
constant.
The Dewey knows? Do you think?
What's that?
Do you think Dewey knows? Or?
I think Dewey ends up knowing.
Right.
I think Dewey ends up recognizing her. And
He's
great.
like, wait a minute.
Hang on a second. Were you in Sausage Party 13?
Right. I'm sure you're like the moose.
Let me see your mouth. Can you put your whole foot in your mouth? I knew a girl named Judy put a whole foot in her mouth. They called her, holy shit, she put a whole foot in her mouth, Judy. All right, work on the debate real quick. I'm going to grab something.
Okay.
Just, I think, yeah, we know where we're going with this. This is all pretty much in keeping with the story that you had envisioned as well, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. If it starts to veer, be sure to speak up so we want to still stay true to what it is that you see.
Right. And I'm not married, you know. There's nothing that I'm really married to, but something seems to make more sense to go down a pathway, but
Sure.
I'm willing to do that.
Okay. Yeah, and that's great.
Because I think even once we flesh out this outline and we write it, we're gonna more than likely go back to it 2 or 3 times and
Oh, yeah.
make some revisions before we feel like we've got something that we can shot or that we could pitch to kind of mirrors entertaining to meet with people.
Well, I'll tell you, I think what we do after we have it all written out is we get a hold of somebody like Nathan Bechtold and have them on the show to do a little script doctoring 101, give him a little time with it, and then have him on the show to kind of let us know what he saw and just kind of give us an idea of what he looks for.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good way to approach it.
Yeah. I need to give him a call because he had sent me a message about talking, IFN, things opening back up, having more in-person meetings again and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, once they open it, I'm telling you though, man,
Once they open it up, they're going to close it back down.
they're going to have to close it back down. I mean, you said Ricky's seen it firsthand. I know the numbers have been absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Let's see where we're at today. They should be up
So
there.
yeah, once fall hits, I think we're going to be back for another round.
Another 5,000 today, 4,901.
People were so hesitant to get a jab and try to squash it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to allow it to run around and continue to evolve and continue to come up with, and then they'll go, see, the vaccines didn't work. And they're like, come on, guys, that's not, you can't sabotage your way into being right. I mean, you can, but it doesn't make sense. Look at what Indiana's doing here. I'm going to hold that up for you. Look at that peak where we're at.
Okay, we're almost back to, I see, yeah.
We're about halfway to where we were in the winter,
Yeah.
and probably 3 or 4 times what we were at this time last year. All this data that exists from 1918, because they wrote all of that stuff down. It's not like 1918 was 1618 and people pillaged shit and just set stuff on fire. All of those records exist, and they all say wear a mask and wash your hands.
Right.
Every single one of them.
Wear a mask, wash your hands, and don't, theaters were closed, places where people were in tight quarters were shut down.
Right. Avoid being close to people, avoid being, assholes and elbows and up in each other's faces for a while, and let's just wait it out. And everybody went, oh, okay. And then it came through in that last wave and started killing everybody. Like killing everybody. I think that's what the fear is on this one, is that the next variant that breaks through, people who have had it the first time are going to be considered by its standards immunocompromised and just hammer them. You may see an uptick in that. Hard saying. All right, so anyway, clear up the debate thing really quick. I'm going to take just a quick break.
Yep.
And then we'll push through Act 2, get this thing finalized, and I think the direction we're going in is going to make having these more expanded notes is going to make it a lot easier to write. So.
Oh yeah, Act 2, electric photo. I said, oh boy,
What'd you get?
I had to take a potty break too.
Oh, okay. We were just dead air for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, we had there.
God damn it.
But
You know what? The 0 viewers and 0 chat and 0 playbacks and 0 watch time tells me nobody noticed. So I think we're good. One of these days, though, somebody will go back through and look at these videos and say, we need to cancel these idiots.
right, they should be canceled.
Yeah. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. See, I just showed the metrics on this thing, too. There's the metrics, in case anybody wanted to see. I need to fix the resolution.
0.0.
Okay. Oh, so when I left, you just left.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Dude's kind of has to decide if he's going to go along with this. Yeah, so they have to convince Dewey. We'll have to decide how that's going to take place. B story is going to be peeps from the assisted living, go on the hunt for the missing residents. Grace pushes Judy to accept the award. I think that's already happened by now. Act 2 is Grace and Judy.
They've already made the move for it.
Yeah, they've already made a break for it. So we're going to take...
Where do you think that's going to happen? The catalyst or the debate? I mean, that's kind of all in the same.
Right there.
In the debate.
Yeah.
So right before you break into Act 2.
Yes. Act 2 it will literally be for us the start of the road trip. I mean, don't you think? I think that's the cleanest way to do it. That way the B story starts with people finding out, wait, what?
Where gone?
Dewey. Where's old Nellie Bell? We can still call the car Nellie Bell. Where's Nellie Bell at? Got somebody to pick up. Well, it should be in the garage. Da-da-da. And that's when they make the discovery and they do a wellness check around to figure out what's up, and they find out that Judy and Grace are gone, and we just show that happening real fast and them hitting the road. And that can be scattered in throughout the catalyst and the debate. We can be continuously cutting back to what's happening with them and starting to build the backstory of the B story throughout the first act. So we'll kind of blend it into the first act and then have it really take off as a true B story in Act 2.
Because we're gonna have to introduce those characters early on anyway. Somewhere in the setup or the catalyst, we'll have to introduce the administrators somehow.
Which are Joe Johansson and Rayla Robinson, as it sits here.
Right.
That doesn't make it right, but as it sits here, that's the names. I don't love either of those names, but whatever.
It's all good.
So Rayla sympathizes with the girls, which is great. Joe is the big dickhead boss guy, or little dickhead boss guy, whatever. That one's easy to figure out. And having Rayla interacting with him pleasantly and how she always liked him, and having Rayla talking with Joe. Oh, but they're so sweet. I don't want to hear about it. Get in the goddamn car.
Yeah.
They're not going to be so sweet when I kick them the hell out of here.
Right.
I swear to God, if anything happens to both of those, you're losing your job right before I lose mine. Grace pushes. So Act 2 should be something more like Grace and Judy Judy hit the open road, wind in their hair. With all of the world and oyster. On their way to accept a porn award. It's fair, right?
World is an oyster.
I mean, that's essentially what we're looking at here. They're both free, they're both feeling kind of youthful and inspired, and they're doing something risky, and they're trying to enjoy their time, and it should have that sort of sense of Thelma and Louise freeness. And
And you know what I like about that is we could set off like that, like it's on this grand adventure and they're free, and then shortly thereafter they're either at a Cracker Barrel or they're or they're using the restroom or something that slows down the trip. Like they're really into it, they're gung ho, but then they're two old ladies,
right,
who probably couldn't sit in the car for 8 hours without having multiple things that they have to tend to.
Well, I mean, and we should show them going on multiple like bathroom breaks, things like that. Just not to say that they would necessarily need that, but it would be funny to have them going on bathroom breaks.
Right, and we're making we're making good time, and like maybe the cars they're getting passed by everybody on the highway.
Right, because they're little old ladies.
Yeah.
And then we should have them during the fun and games portion. We should have them miss our bad guys, like have a near miss at a certain point by our bad guys as well, or maybe get sniffed out by our bad guys. I know it's a long shot, but as they stop by the Cracker Barrel, have you happened to see these ladies? Oh yeah, they left here 20 minutes ago. One of those things. And that's how they end up catching them. When their car breaks down, that's what builds that suspenseful moment, because we now know that they're only 20 minutes behind them.
Right.
And now we've built that future moment, and we know they're bearing down on them, so all of that is kind of logical as well. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Cool.
And that would be within Act 2, right? Or would that be bad guys closing?
Yeah, I think so. Well, let's look at the description of what Act 2 is. Act 2, leave the old situation, enter a new one.
Yeah, I think bad guys close in 55. So that's after we go through the B story. So yeah, okay. So after we do the fun and games and all that, that's when we'll catch them, where they'll just be right behind them with the Cracker Barrel. So that's around the bad guys close in part.
Yeah. And we can have them like go to a bingo hall. They find a bingo hall and go to a bingo hall. They go to a antique mall and run around and look at some stuff there. They see a roadside attraction and they go and take a Polaroid. They buy a Polaroid camera or whatever era we end up in. If we end up in present day, then they end up, well, in present day, everybody's just got a phone. So there's part of the cuteness gets taken out of it at that point. I still think this is an 80s movie where people still use 35 millimeter film and.
Yeah. So that would be early days, right?
Yeah. Polaroids. Well, I don't know. I don't think digital cameras were prevalent until the 90s, right?
Yeah, not till like mid to late 90s. Late 90s, probably.
Yeah, because in the mid 90s, the big technology was the cartridge film. You would just drop a cartridge into it and a little flat camera like that. and then just turn that cartridge in. Okay. Where are we at? Act 2. So, Act 2 is leave the old situation, enter the new one, which is essentially what we've done. The nursing home is to their backs, and they're hitting the road. So the B story is the people at the assistant, they're going on the hunt. After realizing they have stolen the car and escaped, the director's job is on the line if anything happens. And we ought to remember at the end of these type of films, there's always that sort of montagey deal where they button everything up and tell what happened to who and what and where. And it should turn out that the director, Joe Johansson, whatever his name is, ends up losing. Well, Mr. Johansson was right. He did end up losing his job over Judy passing away. So if there was one good thing to come from it, I guess there's that.
Oh, and he was committing Medicaid crime.
Yeah. And it turned out that he was committing fraud, and we each ended up getting a $150,000 check back from the nursing facility, which was nice. He'd been taking money from us for years. I got $150,000 back myself. Not too bad. I never did figure out what it was that Judy did to win that award. But I'll tell you what, I know it had to have been special. And then at the with the credits, we'll do one of those deals, kind of like the Marvel movies, where it cuts back into the film, and she's just shoving a cactus in her asshole.
It's all black and white film.
One of those like 3-pronged cactuses, the ones that are like this. Yeah. And saying fuck yeah over and over and over and over again. And it's like one of those deals where you turn it and the pictures flip, so it's all like stills.
That's perfect.
What do you think?
That's perfect.
Fade to motherfucking black.
That's right.
That's the shit we'll get canceled for. This is the stuff that when the Academy looks at us, they'll go, dude, that idiot talks way too much. Why is he talking about her doing cactus in the butt stuff? Why didn't he just shut up? He just ruined it. You guys get nothing.
Oh, character development. Maybe
That's what I thought.
We can always kill that later then. We can cut that in the editing room.
That's right. Yeah, but even thinking anything like that now is the worst. Even though I'm sure there's video out there right now of somebody who's put a cactus in their ass. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, I have one on my hard drive.
See?
Yeah, let me look it up.
Old ass cactus.
Old ass. That's an old ass cactus.
That's an old ass cactus.
Man, that's an old ass cactus.
That's a cold ass honky. Hard to draw the line if anything happens. Okay, fun and games. What is our fun and games going to be? We'll say, well, I don't know if they go to the Goop store and do jade eggs.
Right. No, that was just something we threw out there last week, but definitely the hangover type shit. They could count carp. I mean, we could do a lot of fun things.
Bingo hall.
They could go to the wax museum.
Bingo hall. Wax museum. Cracker. Well.
Cracker Barrel. And I'm thinking like Old Vegas. You know, there's probably if we do Old Vegas type shit. You know, there's probably some old retro things that they could get into.
Yeah. But this could be one of those movies that has that kind of old time feel to it, but people around them still have technology and all of that. Maybe they're just because they're old, they're kind of trapped in that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that old people are trapped in that. I'm just saying that I'm sure there are some that are. So whoever's fucking watching and judging me, back off.
But there's plenty of like, I'm sure there's bowling alleys. Like you go play bowl at the duck pin bowling. It
Right.
hasn't changed. It hasn't changed any since the early 1900s.
Right, bowling.
There's plenty of things out there that are still like a snapshot in time.
Yeah, absolutely. The Beach Grove Bowl.
Yeah.
All you have to do is move in front of the displays, and it's
digital stuff.
yeah, absolutely. Bowling. Karaoke. What are some other cool ideas? It's shit that these ladies can do.
Can you go shopping?
Sorry?
Shopping?
Shopping.
We're gonna think you mentioned like antique mall or something. That could be a
Yeah, there you go. Or
antiques.
flea marketing.
Flea market, yeah.
Antiques. There you go.
I know. I remember going to shopping in Vegas that had these just exotic, old, real gaudy looking knickknacks and stuff. And there was like a documentary where Michael Jackson went shopping. I think it was like at the Luxor, one of the casino shopping malls.
Right.
We followed him around, and he said, "I went that, and went that, with this, and with that." And like he spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars, just the most gaudy, awful things that you can imagine.
Right.
Something, I mean, cool stuff too, but just like over the top. Maybe they could find themselves in like in a place like that that's just got the most outrageous, over the top things that you don't want to.
And Grace can. Oh, I'd love to have that, but I just couldn't afford it. Or Judy. Well, I love to have it. Maybe Judy's trying to get Grace to lighten up some too. And oh, I just couldn't. And then when she gets the settlement back from the director and the whatever, she goes, when we see her next, she's got a bunch of that gaudy shit all over her assisted living room because she went back and bought it with the money. But don't worry, I'll find a good use for it. And she's setting an egg down with a big elephant tusk and like a giraffe and all this crazy shit, fucking wicker stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Like she just went to Pier 1 and just like puked money and said send it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. We need somewhere to write those down. We need somewhere to write those ideas down.
Like what you're just talking, that could all be this fun game show here.
Yeah, but going back to that at the end of the movie, calling back to it with her, and the idea of maybe her getting money in a settlement, and the idea of, you know what I'm saying? So the midpoint after nearly missing them at a previous location. Car breaks down. Here's what we need to do. So, Grace presses Judy on what the awards about. Argument over topic ensues.
You gonna reveal what it is at the midpoint?
Causing them to leave Cracker Barrel all pissy pants. and not talking. Car breaks down not long after leaving Cracker Barrel. Car breaks down no longer after leaving Cracker Barrel. There you go. What?
So, they get all pissy and have this argument, but before they leave the store, Grace has to go back in and buy some bullshit that she saw in the book.
That is cute. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So, assisted living people. Hang on. Assisted living people. Car breaks down. Okay, so I need to put this. Copy. Paste. Car breaks down. Wonder if to leave it. Girls are on the road. Side of the road. Assisted living people. Discover they just missed the Grace and Judy after showing their pics to now.
We got him now.
Got him now. Man.
Yeah, the car could have been called in as stolen. So when maybe a cop comes up to get him, or to maybe assist him, that's when they.
What now?
Maybe the car was called in stolen, or do we have because why wouldn't the assisted living people just bring them in? Why would they have? I guess. I'm just wondering if I had two old ladies that took a car from my assisted living facility, I'd probably just, if I found them in the car, I'd probably just take them back.
Well, I think what happens is, because remember, Dewey's in the back seat, so they pull up in behind him. The two ladies are over there freaking out. We finally figure out what's going on and that the facility people are bearing down on them, and that's what this is all about, including a cop. We can have a cop there too, that they arrive at the same time, or the cop arrives just before them, and then the assisted living people come behind and rub it in their faces. We're taking you back, and and the cop's like, all right, well, if you've got them, I'm just going to get out of here. I'm not going to book them for stealing a car. And then when the cop takes off, the assisted living people will go back. What's his name? Dewey's already come out and thrown the belt on the deal. And that's when, get in, ladies. Dewey throws them in the car. They take off. The cop's gone. Well, now they recall the cop. Now the cop's pissed because now he does feel like it's a stolen car. And that's how he'll come back to pick them up. Right? Wait, but Dewey's got to run decoy. So that's what'll happen. He'll fix it. Ladies, get in the car, and he'll send them packing while he stands there and is like, Dewey, what are you doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in the back of the car, something. I don't know what happened. They just drove off. He'll just play dumb. He's Dewey.
It happens.
Oh, get in the car, Dewey. Jesus Christ. What is going on with you people? None of this happened until this Judy lady showed up.
Right.
Okay. So, bad guys close in. We got them now. Cop pulls over and checks on ladies as director et al. Pull up. Director explains situation and wants them booked for stealing the car. Cop rolls eyes and drives off. Dewey fixes car. Oh, no, so drives off. All is lost will be... Well, all is lost still has to be the ladies are in custody. So the bad guys closing in. All of this happens, this midpoint bad guys closing in are kind of, I suppose, the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cop's eye, rolls eyes, drives off. Dewey shows up from back of car to fix ladies' car and send them off. Runs decoy. Cops called again. Ladies are pulled over by cops again and taken into custody for stealing car. Put in back home. Clear the air on the award. Grace is pissed because she is anti that shiz.
Yeah, I really like that. Or kind of the soul part where she dies and Grace finds her and
Yeah.
makes her up, and we could have a nice sappy moment there.
Yeah.
And then the end, the end of it, another nice sappy speech. Yeah. Before she walks off the stage.
That's how we'll do it. So we'll say, ladies, book hotel room, and car is spotted by same cop. Confronts ladies, guards their room until the director can claim them. guards their room until director can claim them. So we can get rid of this part. So he'll have them basically in jail, right? I don't think he needs to book him or anything. I think he's just like, look, I'm going to stay here. You're not going anywhere. Your director's going to come and get you two women. I'm so sick of the both of you. I just want you out of my hair, and I want to go home and see my wife. Stay put. Shut up. And wait. They'll be here. And just let it go. And who knows how long it'll be before they come back. So it can be hours. It can be all night. The director won't be here until the morning. I'm staying here all damn night to make sure that you ladies get back okay. I'm tired of messing with this.
Right.
Don't mess with me. Thank you. And he's cool about it. We don't want the cop to necessarily be a dick. So, until the room can claim them the next day. So then it would go on to the ladies put in the hotel until they can be sent back home. Clear the air on the award. Grace pissed. She's anti that shiz. I already got the grab Judy goes into the bathroom to take a bath and calm down. Grace feels shitty for being an asshole about everything and goes to talk to Judy after a long while. We find out Judy had a terminal illness and has died, leaving Grace without closure. Sad shit. Act 3. We'll say Grace. So this is where Grace does Judy up in her acceptance dress and makeup. And
I would say that, yeah, that's Act 3 is good.
Yeah. And this is be made aware, and they wait for a corner. Act 3. The actor shows up with Dewey to drive back lady's car or other facility car.
You know what might be cool in Act 3 is if Grace maybe finds like a contact information for the AVN people and lets them know that they're there, and maybe send a car for her. So like a
Grace pretends to be Judy,
Yep.
and then when she gets up there, she lets him know that
All
Judy was
about
my
Judy.
friend, and she passed
Judy.
last night.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the cop and the director can be closing in, coming down the aisle, sort of Blues Brothers-y sort of closing in moment where one's coming this way and one's coming from side stage looking at her and doing the mean pointing.
Right.
Yeah. And then a bunch of dudes with huge cocks just tackle them.
That's right.
You know how I know they have huge cocks? Because it's the porn awards.
That's right.
Goddamn right they have huge cocks.
All
All right. Director shows up, Dewey drive back the other facility car. Everyone broken over. Loss of Judy. Except director, who is still a twat. Dewey gets Grace keys to car and she jams out again. So she's not letting go, she'll escape. That way we create the next drama moment. Makes it to the AVN Awards, over BFF. Oh, that's okay. I see what you're saying. So you think, but we won't be able to get them. We need them to escape somehow.
Right. Yeah.
So she just needs to drive there and show up and go, yeah, I'm wait, so what's her name gonna be?
Oh, the porn name?
Yeah.
I don't know. We had a bunch of different ones, but yeah. Patty Packer.
My name's Dame Judy Drench.
Judy Grinch.
Judy Drench. Judy Drench. Yeah, and she swallows hard too. Yeah, I'm Judy Drench. She's not happy with having to say it. Yep, nope, that's me. I'm Judy Drench.
Right. Yeah, whatever the name is, it gotta be.
She'll say her real name. She'll say my name's Judy whatever her last name is. Judy Drench? Yes, Judy Drench. That's me. Right?
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. But acting as Judy. And prompts close in again. Dewey joins. Is he still getting blown at the AVN?
Yeah.
During acceptance speech, Grace reveals all to the crowd to cheers and the respect of all, but again, the director, who is again a twat. He gets his Grace and Dewey go home. Judy decomposes. There we go.
Do you think of us?
This is the AVN award thing you sent me here. Oh wow, there's a lot of boobies in that picture. Boobies and butts, it turns out, are popular.
Huh.
I don't know. Wow. Yeah, that is.
Before we fade to black, I'm gonna put da 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 da.
There's some butt cheeks.
Okay, yeah. It says.
Interesting. All right. More toots.
Toots.
Ah, yeah. It buys a bunch of cool shit. Yeah.
Dude, I'm ready. Now we just have to break this out into 100 pages of script.
Yep. But, I mean, I think we did a pretty good job of expanding out all of our points.
I do, yeah, I do too. Because it'll just make and then now it's just kind of like a paint by numbers.
Yep. 100%. We definitely have the map to follow. Cool. We've done Lord's work, sir. What do you
Yes,
think?
we have. I dig it. What do you think?
I like it. I think I like where it's at now more than I liked where it was. I mean, I liked where it was before. I liked that we had touched all of that stuff and kind of not vetted it out, but at least, you know, got it out there so we had something to follow. This is a movie.
Yeah, I agree.
So
And now, yeah, we can just make a nice, cute story with some drama and hilarity.
yeah.
And a lot of, I think we can come up with some fun dialogue between these two ladies.
I do too. I don't see any reason why we couldn't. They should be fun characters, and especially now that we know maybe them a little bit better, because it sounds like Grace is a little bit more confident, but still pretty conservative. It sounds like Judy is pretty liberal, but she comes across maybe as conservative because she's quiet and kind of keeping to herself. So, yeah, it should be fun. All right. Well, sir, that might be the show. What do you think?
I think that's the show.
All right. Let's see how we did. Ooh. We're still at 0 viewers.
All right. Well, nobody watched it, then we can't get canceled.
What's that?
Nobody watched, then we can't get canceled.
That's right. But when we become famous, they're going to go and scrutinize all of this stuff. And they're going to be like, oh my God, he talked about her big butthole taking a cactus.
That's okay. As long as we get a check. Just give me a check.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, nobody.
Thanks, nobody.
Hey, thanks for showing up, Terry.
Hey, thanks for you showing up.
I appreciate you, man.
Okay, you.
I'll see you Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Actually, yeah, thanks. That's how you end the show.
Actually, I won't see it. It's the anniversary next week.
Oh, that's right. You won't see me. I'll be gone. Next Thursday.
The 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. Well, you know you were there.
Yeah.
You were our officiant. Oh, good times. My babies.
I like the sweet jacket. I thought that was pretty dope.
What's that?
I liked your sweet jacket. I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah. It was definitely us.